everyone. Welcome to Chat with Cait. I'm super excited today to have a very amazing guest and inspiring woman, Barbara Strong, who's going to share with us about her life in being a personal change mentor. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Cait. Yeah, really pleased to be here. This is an important part for me in my own personal journey. So yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity.
And thank you for being here. As Barbara and I have discussed, this is actually a first for both of us. It's my first time interviewing someone, my first YouTube video. I believe it's your first interview too, correct?
Yeah, I've had a few plays, but this is the first time I actually feel like, oh my God, I'm having an interview. Oh.
Exactly. So bear with us, everyone. This is a first for us. We're going to start with Barbara telling us a little bit in her own words who she is and what she does.
Okay, so one of the things that you did as part of this interview is you sent me a list of questions which really helped me focus on how to answer you. And one of the things I realized was at the moment, I don't actually know who I am. It's better to know who I was to get a picture of who I am now, because this is my second life. Okay, so who am I? I'm not quite sure who I am at the moment, but I do know who I was. And who I was is actually who's made me who I am now. Cait asked, Cait asked me to define myself. And one of the things I've been struggling with at the moment is how to define myself. I'm a coach, but I haven't coached for a long time, and I feel very uncomfortable with the term coach. But yeah, I've coached, and in fact I was coaching 30 years ago, so I've coached a long time.
Yeah.
But I realized when I was looking at the notes that I'm actually a mentor, because I've always shared. Oh my God, I'm going to go all Bready Brown. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
This is raw and real, so go for
it. Down and dirty life, personal growth in front of your very eyes.
Exactly, we're seeing it.
That's actually what I've done all my life, is shared. Now, some people might say, oh, Barbara always talks about herself. I'm not really talking about myself. I'm talking about my experiences. And I understand that I'm almost the same as every other human being. And if I can change and transform, so can other people. Oh my God, that was really heavy for the who am I?
Well, I'm glad that you're able to share that. And yeah, a lot of times we talk about our experiences to help others. It's not so much because we're trying to be self-centered. It's we're trying to say, hey, this is what I've done and how I've changed, and I want you to see that it's possible for you too.
Absolutely. And all I did was things differently, ultimately. That's all I did, was as simple as learn new stuff and do things differently. And as a result, I literally transformed my life.
Amazing. Yeah, and we're going to get more into that. So
I hope so.
You told me that you sold almost everything and you moved to, was it Thailand or somewhere else in Asia about 3 years ago?
It's actually a really significant, I wake up every day, never realized I would ever live this life. People talk about their destiny and their future, and I could never have imagined this future. I wake up every day in Chiang Mai, and it's been I've been traveling now for 8 years, and every day I wake up and I still can't believe that I didn't start traveling till I was 48 years old. I'd never been anywhere.
Wow. That's amazing. And then you had the courage to do that. What do you think, this wasn't one of our questions, but now everybody wants to know, what do you think pushed you at 48 to travel?
So at 40, I had this massive epiphany that I'd lived my entire life dominated by fear and terror, that I was petrified, literally petrified. I couldn't make decisions. My life was one of the smallest lives you can imagine. At 48 years old, I'd only ever lived in 2 places my entire life.
Wow.
My life was tiny, and it was in like the same area. And at 40, I had this epiphany that I've had enough. I'm done. I'm done. I can't. I'm done. I'm finished with this. And so I set out for what ended up being 7 years on. I actually noted it down. I call it kamikaze personal development, do or fucking die.
Yeah. Yeah, you just went for it.
And I went into my personal development hardcore, like it was a battle between myself and myself.
Wow. That's absolutely incredible. I think people need to hear that, because a lot of people don't realize that in your 40s and 50s, you can completely transform your life and change things. And you're a great example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not easy. It's bloody painful, and it's uncomfortable. And through the process I went through, night terrors, panic attacks, just really open a can of worms. But I had to go and investigate my fear and terror and understand it as what it wasn't. Yeah. Ultimately, we make everything up. We create everything. So when I hit 40, I was blessed that someone gave me a free ticket to, I'm 40 years old. So this is about 2006, 2007. I go on this NLP based personal development course with this big American guy shouting at everybody. But I'm like, mate, I had issues around money. So I was also poor. Yeah. I had a real poverty mentality. I was a poor person. My whole life had been financial struggle. So someone gave me this free ticket for 3 days of personal development. And I was like, boom, I'm in. I'm going to squeeze that course for every penny I can. I squeezed it like a mofo. When I left it after 3 days, I was like, boy, something shifted in that course. So I got myself my first credit card. I was 40 years old. I was even too scared to get a credit card.
Wow.
I got my first credit card and I went, boom, I'm paying the next course. And it was NLP. And so for a good 4 years, I just did NLP courses. I crewed. I was also taking all my skills that I was learning for myself and sharing them with my clients. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I was on this course and I tried this. You want to try this thing? It's amazing. I was working with long-term unemployed people. So I've coached nearly 5,500 people.
Wow.
Just don't like that word, coach.
That's absolutely amazing.
About 5,500 people. It's taken me a long time to own that success. Taken me a massive time to be honest about that.
Well, I'm glad that you're owning it here and now in this moment.
I know, everything is synchronous. There's synchronicity in everything and connection in everything. And there's a reason for this, definitely, for both of us. For both of us.
And I just got chills.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead. We knew we were going to popcorn with the lag. I won't let you finish.
I'll talk about anything now. I've calmed down a bit now. Not cried. There's nothing more that you do. I'm good now. Got that out of the way.
All right, well, if you have anything else, insert it, because I can totally cut out me cutting you off.
Cool.
Gotta love this lag. My next question is, so what and who inspires you?
So again, I'm really glad you asked me that question. It's 4 things.
Okay, cool.
First thing is poor people who don't have much, people who are at the bottom of the pile, people without much education, people without the chances. That's where I came from, and I'll never forget where I came from. So even when I started traveling so after I did all my personal development courses, I didn't just change, I transformed. And as I said, I fought myself. People kept saying to me on the court, you're being too hard on yourself, don't be so, and I just literally turn around and go, are you going to change my fucking life?
Yeah.
Because the only way I know how to do this is tough. This is not easy, and people being gentle with me and loving with me, that's all great, but it's so soft and fluffy, it makes me want to stay there.
Yeah.
I need to be kicked. I need to be kicked. I need to be pushed, and the only person that can do that for me and do it safely is me.
Yep.
And good trainers, teachers, good wisdom, good friends, but ultimately me. So I did all this. So one of the other things I said to you is I was also sharing. So my clients were like me. So in my career, my life was a mess, but my career helping unemployed people, that's where my 5,500 clients came from. People on benefits, ex-offenders, disabled people, single mums like me, people of colour, ex-junkies, homeless, ex-graduates, retirees, you name it, they would ultimately come to me if they were out of a job.
Yep.
Because they were like me and I was on my own journey, I felt selfish holding on to the knowledge that I was learning, because it's not the kind of, NLP isn't the kind of knowledge ordinary, and that's the only way I can describe it, ordinary people access. So I was like, fuck it, this is working for me. Shit, I'm sharing it with you guys.
Yep.
Why would I keep this a secret? So my clients, in my 18-year career, I was 40% more productive in getting people work than anyone in the system, because I was in a system where I was measuring national statistics all the time.
Yep.
So I knew my shit was working, sharing it. And then when I began traveling, so I've always been attracted to people like me. Mm-hmm. But I'm also attracted to people who have even less than me, because in my opinion, they should be applauded, not scandalized and put down. You try living on no money. It's hard. It's hard. When I work with all these people, one of the things that I realized was there was only about 2% that actually didn't want to work. The rest are just given the fuck up.
Yeah. And they needed to be lifted up, and you, it sounds like you were really
got a job, but or they got a job and they were doing it illegally, and then they were being criminalized for working.
The whole thing is messed up, the whole system. Yeah.
So I was helping these clients. So I was more successful. So as you can see, I was passionate about my work.
Yeah.
But when I started traveling, the people that attracted me, so I went to Nepal in the earthquake. I'd been traveling for 3 years, and then the earthquake happened. So I spent time in the during the earthquake, and I was stunned by the way people, when they have nothing and they're in crisis, lift themselves up beyond anything they ever thought they could do. And one of the things I found, one of the books I read was Cait, The Power of Now. And one of the things that came out of that really strongly, absolutely, in his preface, his introduction is the most significant part for me of the whole book, where he says that he was ready to kill himself and he woke up. And I think we live in a society that stops us from having those wake up moments. We eat too much, we drink too much, we shop too much, we FaceTime too much, we distract ourselves from having this pain. And again, this is what I go back to about one of the reasons I'm having difficulty defining myself as a mentor and a coach is because I do believe you need your ass kicking and you have to go to the hard places.
Yeah, absolutely. So you feel inspired by that experience, Paul?
People who have nothing are just as resourceful as what they, and also what they lack is the knowledge of how they can change their perceptions, because that's what I did. Change my perceptions, change my whole life.
Yeah, That you nailed it right there.
So
that's the interview in itself, right? I'm like, that is such a powerful, that is like a powerful, absolutely powerful statement. And it's simple to say, but it's not always the easiest to live by. But it's like you said, if you change that, everything else changes significantly.
And it's tough. And this is why I think you do have to. Some of my best teachers, my best coaches were the people that stood right in my face with love and said, fix up yourself now, pull yourself out of whatever it is that ultimately I'm creating and create something else now.
Yeah. And I don't know how you feel, but I feel for a lot of my clients and people I've worked with, there's different components, but the people that I've worked with, there is a little bit of like taking that personal responsibility for many things in our life that are maybe not ideal that we've created. Like that does not always sit well with people having to take the responsibility, because it creates maybe some like guilt or shame or anger. Have you encountered that?
Well, that's good because that's the thing you got to bloody deal with.
Yeah, exactly. You got to look it in the face.
Hello, it's going to keep on hitting you in the face in every sense of your life. That's why I decided to deal with fear and terror. Now, I could have gone with insecurity, I was like, no, man, I'm poor. I'm going big money. I'm paying, when I started getting that credit card, I was paying thousands of pounds for courses. I was poor. And I was like, I'm going to get this credit card. I'm not buying food. I'm not buying a washing machine. I'm not buying a sofa. Me and my kids lived in shit. I was like, I'm going to go on these courses and I'm going to change my life.
Yep.
Oh God, I lost my track again. But even that was a big, like, I've got to step beyond I'd never invested in myself like that in my life. And it was so frightening. But if I hadn't have gone through the fear of just getting the card to pay for £1,000, I'd never spent £1,000 on myself in my life. And I was like 43, 44 years old.
Wow. And would you say that was a struggle for you, making that decision to spend that money, or it just felt this instinctive?
Once I'd made that decision at 40, when I had that epiphany, I'm done. Nothing was going to turn me back. Nothing was going to make me go back. It was like, I'm sick. I was 40 years old. You know, if I lived to 80, yeah, okay, whatever. Yep. That was halfway through my life. Oh, it was literally on my 40th birthday.
Yep. It was just like, oh my goodness, here we go. It just clicked.
I can't live like this anymore. No, this has got to change. So the other thing I did, so to overcome fear, there are some of the things I would say to people: definitely get the Susan Jeffers book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. 100% amazing. It's amazing for anyone trying to overcome fear. It's awesome. But as a result of reading that book and going on the personal development courses, all NLP based, all neurolinguists, Tony Robbins, Richard Ban, founder of NLP, John Grinder, the founder of NLP, Paul McKenna. Oh my God, big names. This was a peak in the UK of, they were all leaving America. There was a scandal, so they all came over to the UK and there was seminars. Oh my God, it was just amazing. Yeah. So I was doing all these seminars. Sorry, you have to remind me.
And so you were doing all this seminars. So would you say, because you were telling me about how people who live in poverty or would struggle inspire you, and travel also inspires you, especially that experience you had in, was it Nepal? I believe you told me Nepal. Would you say also like
Nepal
and Tony Robbins and a lot of these NLP people inspire you? Would you put them in your list of inspiration?
Yeah, absolutely, because I don't like the fact that they're big ass American guys. They're a bit shouty, and I'm an English working class woman. They pissed me off at times, which is why I want to find my space, because I think the space needs me. I really do actually think it needs me.
Space.
So, but they were good teachers. They were good teachers, and there was nobody else teaching what I was learning.
And so my next question was about your greatest lesson. Would you say that ties into your greatest lesson, or can you think of another lesson or something in life that was a big kind of epiphany or a big change for you?
I don't know. I think ultimately I think it will come back to about developing a sense of courage. Be, you know, fear. The only most of us are in fear.
Yep.
Sorry, call it shame, guilt. Ultimately, you boil it down, it's fear. Yep. So if it's all one thing, you know, let's just get real about that. What was your question again?
Oh, it was just about, you had shared, you had this epiphany at 40, and it was, would you say that moment in
what was the other thing?
Was a great lesson, or was there anything else you can pinpoint that was like a huge light bulb moment or a great lesson?
Well, because of that epiphany and doing the personal development courses, what happened was I decided that the antithesis of fear was courage.
Oh,
so I needed to flex my courage muscle. I had this muscle that didn't work, and it was called courage. Mm-hmm. I was like, that sounds really scary. Oh, counterintuitive, but that's what you need. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So were you kind of faking it?
So I started doing things. No, I actually did it. I started doing things that frightened me.
You just went for it.
So I did 2 skydives. Yeah, I did 2 skydives.
Oh my goodness.
I did a fire walk. I got my first tattoo.
Oh my goodness.
Just anything that scared me. 40 years old, my first tattoo. Go on, give me a big one on my back.
I love it. I can't wait for people to see this. Wow, I can't wait for that. I love it.
Yes, so I think it keeps on coming back to I think the biggest lesson I've learned, and I think it's my name. I changed my name by Depot. I legally changed my name.
Oh wait, so Barbara Strong isn't your name?
I created me.
What was your name before, or is that a secret?
So no, I fucking love telling people this. I have friends that have changed their names because of me.
And I love this. I love the direction this is going.
Popcorn.
Okay, now we need to know, what was your name before Barbara Strong?
So before I was born Barbara Hill, okay, but then I married and I jumped from the frying pan. I was already a very broken girl when I got to my marriage, and I was pregnant, had my first baby, and all sorts of to the wrong guy, and I became Barbara Gilbert. And a Gilbert is a British name for a bogey, a booger.
Oh, geez.
Who wants to be Barbara Gilbert? And through the whole time that I was married to this guy, I was deeply unhappy, like really unhappy. And we finally split up, and he kept sending me letters telling me I was a bad mom, he was going to take my kids away from me, and And one night we went to a mutual place and met, because he sent me this point thing. I had an answer for everything. And for the first time since I've met him, which was maybe 8 years, we've probably been, 10, 11 years. By the time I said this to him, it was the first time I ever stood up for myself.
Yeah.
And I literally shot him down in flames. And I left we met in a pub, a public place, because I was I'm still in terror. I'm still in terror. This is way before my personal development courses. So I'm like, as I'm walking home, I can feel myself getting more and more powerful in my step. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel strong. And I was like, oh my God, that's who I am. And the reason I was looking for a new name was because I didn't want to be Barbara Gilbert anymore. I was going to get divorced. I had the opportunity. I could go back to being Barbara Hill. Shit, no. That weren't a good place either. That girl was not a happy bunny. So no, I certainly didn't want to be Barbara Gilbert. So before this meeting, I'd been, for about a year and a half, trying on new names. Barbara Brown, no. Barbara Joe, no, just random names. And as I walked home, I was like, I'm Barbara Strong. And then one of my clients who was better off than me paid for me to have my name changed legally when she found a job.
I love it. This story is so awesome, and it's true. Like, a name does impact,
I know, right?
who you are. Like, I don't know if I shared this with you. I'll share this real quick on here. I am technically legally married. We separated 2 years ago in Spain. My divorce is not finalized. And I had to think about, okay, what am I going to do with my name? Am I going to go back to my maiden name? Am I going to keep my ex's name? Am I going to change it? And I have no negative feelings towards my ex whatsoever. I absolutely love my coaching name, Cait Townsley, which is my ex's last name. I'm keeping it. Because, like, my other name was Caitlin.
Yeah, if it works for you, use it.
Yeah, like, it rings to it. I like it. And I'm like, why would I go back to Caitlin Phillips Chapman? That was like a really lost, misguided girl. And that's like a part of me. I just,
and you got that anymore.
Yeah. Like, I'm Cait Townsley, and I'm okay with that. Exactly. So to hear you say that is so cool, because I've been thinking this to myself, and it's so, just like very, I don't know, you just kind of solidified my decision without even intending.
I'm really pleased about that. And also what happened was my name reflected who I had to be. I had to be strong to get through all that shit.
Yeah.
And then I was really strong through the change, and that was really scary. And then now I'm on the other side, and I'm now developing another kind of strength. I'm now more gentle with myself. I don't have to kick my ass so bloody hard. I've done that work. And that's one of the reasons why I constantly go back to 3 words: fear, courage, and strength. For personal transformation to really, really, really occur, you have to go to your deepest, darkest place. You have to. And the interesting thing was, the epiphany that I had when I was 40 was triggered by my dad. And it took 7 years for me to do skydives, firewalks, all kinds of shit, for me to realize actually the ultimate fear is talking to my parents about how I was brought up.
Yeah.
And that's when I took the lid off my whole family dynamic. Sorry fam, but I really shook the boat, because I realized that I had to look after myself first. And then the other thing that I've been doing since I left is not only looking after myself, but endeavoring to heal my family wound as well.
Yeah, family wounds. Yeah, this family wounds, healing family wounds is so important in everyone's personal journey.
But it has a dynamic. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Don't even worry about it. Go for it.
You are the heart of everything around you, as everything around you is the heart of everything around themselves.
Yeah.
And I know that because of vibration and connection, those people are the most. When I did one of my personal development courses, they did these concentric circles. You're in the very middle. The next concentric circle is the people most intimate to you. Your parents. Hello. You come out of them. You can't get more intimate than that. And that alone, that intimacy says that you are bonded to that other human being, and anything you do affects them, especially if you do it intentionally. And I was intentionally changing. I didn't fully understand the impact on the whole family once I opened my mouth and lit the light up on everyone's bullshit.
Yeah,
but I took responsibility for it, and I continue to. You have to go to your darkest place. You have to, and usually it starts with family, and it's not their fault. But for you to heal, you have to find a way, in the best way, and it's certainly not with anger, not with blame. And I hope, I can't really remember what I said back then, I know they were pissed off, but I hope, I believe my intention, that's why it took so long to do it and have this whole journey, because it wasn't just learning to be like, I was also learning through now to be a better communicator, to understand another person's perspective, non-verbal communication, body language. I was beginning to learn a lot more about how any human being communicates with another human being. So I gave them, you see, so so far I'm strong. Hello.
I love it. I think this is
what, actually today officially, but Today is officially Barbara Strong's 23rd birthday, because this was the day 23 years ago my name changed by Deepole.
I don't think that's a coincidence at all that we're having this conversation on camera. How amazing is that? Wow. Well, happy 23rd birthday to Barbara Strong. My goodness.
Thank you. That's why I look so young.
You need to celebrate. We're in lockdown, but like have a cake delivered or something.
I know. So I've got a brownie in the fridge. I'm intermittent fasting. I can eat brownie. Yeah.
There you go. That brownie will be worth it. So my next question ties into everything. Of course, it all comes together. But for any woman, whether it's a young woman or an older woman or wherever she's at in life right now, if you could offer just one piece of advice to someone watching this right now who felt lost or stuck or just didn't know what to do with their life, what would you say?
Pick one thing.
Yeah, and if you need to take
just
a minute to think. Yeah, let's try to do one thing.
Yeah, just pick one thing.
Yeah, one thing.
There's so many things you can do in your life. Like I went hardcore because I was pragmatic, because I was poor. I was very practical about money. So I was very much, right, I'm on this course, it's cost me £1,000. I'm getting everything I can out of it. Yeah, I didn't waste it. So I was like, right, I'm going for fear and terror. Fuck it. It's under everything. It's under money, relationships, family. It's everywhere. So I'm going in hard for the big one. But not everyone's got that level of courage. So maybe it's something smaller for you. It might be skill. It might be how you're dealing with your boss. Whatever it is, I don't care whether you do it through Reiki or moonstones or CBD or whatever. Just focus on that one thing till you nail it. The rest of your world can be bullshit. If you don't prove to yourself you can do one thing, you're doing any other things. You're not doing other things. And obviously, again, the bigger you pick it, the harder it will be. But man, I transformed my life.
So you're saying like focus in and give everything to one thing. And then once you master that, you can add more things, but really just hone in on one thing.
The other thing is, well, the bigger you go, so it could be something like, I want to have a better relationship with my husband. Well, actually, if you dig right down deep into that, it's going to come back to fear anyway. Some kind of fear in your life. And sometimes I do, this is another reason why I found it difficult to define myself, because sometimes, I've said this already, sometimes we can flower things up, and I'm a very loving mentor and coach. I don't hurt people. I know I've empowered people, but I've actually said the things that a lot of other people don't want to say. And I think sometimes the personal development industry is fluffy, and I think sometimes there is fluffiness. You either fucking do it or you don't do it. Yes, it's going to hurt, but you're hurting already. I said to a nun, right? So, I said my life has been about, the more my life has got better, the poorer I've become. So I hang out with nuns. Look, this is my friend.
I love it.
She's a nun. She lives in the forest in God knows where in Thailand, and I hang out with them for a month here. I can't do more than a month because I need a hot shower after a while. I sleep on the floor. I go out for the arms round. I eat out of the bowl. I do everything with them. And I said to her, I digressed again.
That's okay.
Go back. No, I can't. I wanted it was related to what you. Oh God, what did you ask me? I was
asking you if you had to give one piece of advice for women. You said just find that one thing and just really hone in on it.
That one thing is me and the nun were having a conversation. We both agreed she's gone a different journey. So this is the other thing. You asked me earlier what are my favorite things, and I said poor, and that I keep bumping back to that. It's obviously women. That's why I love being in Chiang Mai. I hang out with nuns. One of the things is about ultimately with the nuns, for them to be, and Buddhism is about personal development. That's what meditation is, going mindful, that stuff. One of the things that the nun actively seek is pain. And I said to one of the nuns who understands English, I said, sometimes, she was in pain. She had pain in her shoulder. And I said to her, sometimes we choose our pain. But because we choose our pain, we can change our pain. And I believe, as the nuns do, as Buddhists do, that every day we're suffering anyway. So I'm picking my suffering. If my suffering is going to be jumping out of an aeroplane, fine. But at least that suffering's taking me somewhere.
Yep, and you've chosen it.
That suffering, do you know, because you're still suffering.
Yep.
Suffering. The nuns love suffering. They're like, oh yeah, we've got some learning to do.
Meanwhile, the rest of society is like running away from it in like the opposite direction.
Oh my God, it's suffering, it's terrible. I must run and have another cake or buy this bag. No.
It's like sometimes you have to just sit with it and just be with it and be aware.
You just don't. We don't need as much. There's like this minimalist movement. Well, I was never a minimalist. I was just poor. I just didn't have stuff because I couldn't buy it. Yeah. So I kind of made do. Do you know? I just made do. So when I got to this life backpacking, oh, can't have anything backpacking, less. Then I sold my home, less. Now I hang out with nuns, even less. Yeah. I own in the whole world 90 kilos of stuff. I've become a minimalist inadvertently.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's kind of interesting because now you've chosen that, where like before you weren't choosing that. I don't know if that resonates or makes sense. Like before you said you were poor, and now, not that necessarily how much you have has to do with your wealth, but it's interesting how like what would have been maybe negative to you before maybe isn't now, because like you're choosing now to live a lifestyle with less material things.
It's beneficial, but it's I talk to people, I don't know, I think there's like rites of passage, and I don't know, but I think that the less you have, the freer you become. The nuns have got nothing, and they've got no concept of my life. They're like, oh, can you come here now? And I'm like, well, I've got things to do, I've got rent to pay, I've got they're just like, nothing, nothing.
Just completely different life. That's incredible. All right, so that is great for the advice. I have a couple more questions here. So in terms of books that have changed your life, I'm sure there are a ton of books and seminars and materials. If you had to suggest one or two books, what would they be? Because for me, I always suggest to people, if I had to only pick one, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. What's your choice?
Joe Dispenza. Yeah. Do you know what? When I was writing down how I've been successful, ready for this next step up in my life, I actually went through, I did this thing, top 100 personal development books, and I'd read 75% of them. I was like, bloody hell. But it was all over this personal development career. So again, I've always liked kick-ass, straightforward, no bullshit coaching, because I'm a straightforward, no bullshit kind of coach. Mm-hmm. So back in the 80s, Oprah?
Yep.
So she had a guy called Dr. Phil.
Oh,
and
yes,
Dr.
my mom
Phil
loves
was
him.
Really, right. Dr. Phil was like, just shut up with all this emotion stuff. Just cut your bullshit. Yep. Get down to it. And I love that. I ain't got time for your bullshit. I heard it. I recently did Landmark Forum saying, can't be listening to your story. What's the bottom line? Oh, I really got to dig that out. If you want to get better, all right, here it is. Yeah. So Dr. Phil, he had a book called Life Strategies. Huh?
It's called Life Strategies.
Yeah. He's on my list to reread, so I would suggest him, just because, well, for me, I like straightforward. I also like any book by Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Controversial chap, but I like him. And Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, for sure.
Popular one.
And The Power of Intention by Robert Dwyer.
All right, I will have to definitely share those and check some of those out. I haven't read any of the Dr. Phil books, but my mom had a Dr. Phil parenting book.
They're quite old. They're from the 80s. They are from the 80s, but the 80s was just when NLP and coaching was really beginning to form, and people don't call it NLP anymore because NLP isn't a thing, it's a box of tools. So NLP was designed to be another technique that therapists and people helpers could add on to their modality, because it was about how you communicated, and any people helper is a communicator. So is any parent, any boyfriend, any girlfriend, any husband, da 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 da. So it was really, really buzzing, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of the ideas have now been renamed, reshaped, been added on to modalities to become whatever they've become. But what I like about the stuff about the 80s, it had a very pure NLP feel, and I think NLP is like a frame, and I think people get the building, and I would rather people learn the frame, because then they can go and build their own homes, their own style. And I think with a lot of NLP, it's become buildings, identities, and so the skills have got lost, disseminated and lost. And I again, it's about sharing, and I feel that people should learn the skills, the framework, because we're all communicators, we're all people helpers, we're all friends, we're all connected to other human beings in some way. And these skills again changed my life.
Awesome. Well, I will definitely have to check out that book. Now, what's going in terms of the future? What does the future hold for you? Like any future projects or anything coming up? Like what's next for you?
Well, this is again why this was very fortuitous. So in the last year or two, I've always been lazy. You know, we were talking about names earlier. Ironically, I really dislike ascension. I don't like going up things physically. I object to hiking, trekking, stairs, effort, all sorts of things like this. That's why I hang out with nuns, because I'm still pushing my bullshit. I don't like doing it. There's a reason why not. Push it and find out, because that's where the benefit is, through the thing you're resisting. So I always actively push my resistance to something, because I know there's a lesson behind it. So, but my birth name was Barbara Hill, which is a thing you go up, which I just find. I know.
Oh my goodness.
Right. So I kept pushing against this desire to ascend, and what's happened is it's happening in the very essence of who I am again, because I've done all these amazing things, and yet I can't make a video. Too scared. Resistance.
Because there's a resistance there. Yeah.
And again, it's fear. I'm like, no. Right. So I'm like, no, man, this is fear again. Mother. I thought I dealt with it. No, this is a new context. This is about me stepping up and sharing what I've learned at a much bigger level. And I realized when I was doing the investigation that actually what I've been experiencing is two things very common, actually. One very common, one not so common. One is imposter syndrome. I'm going to get found out. People are going to think I'm a phony. Oh my God, I'm not worthy. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Self-doubt, all of that. I've got that. I've been having that. I've been working with it. Hence the universe giving me this opportunity. But I also came up against something called Jonah complex. And Jonah complex is very much about coming up against your purpose. And I've known since I was doing my courses, when I was too busy, like, fuck fear and terror. Underneath, there was all this stuff about I'm actually not worthy of anything, and I'm a bit rubbish and people will know. And now I've got to the point where I don't want to sound braggy, and that's another problem that Jonah complex people have, is, oh no, I can't actually say that I'm a success about anything.
Yeah, it almost
so I'm
like
like, oh fuck, I've got to own it without being like a knob. I don't want to sound like a knob. but I've actually done more than so many people I know in my old world, even in the world I'm in. And I'm not going to keep that a secret.
Yep. You need
So
to share
my future goal, my plan is, I've just actually, you know, I said I hung out with all these top coaches and well, what started this whole thing, and it is coming to an end, what started this whole thing is, you said to me, I sold my house when I was 50.
Yeah.
So when I sold my house for the first time in my life, I had no financial problems. I'd always been poor. And because I live on a budget and I live a great but modest life, I've got no future problems in terms of money. I'm debt free. I'm good. I'm good, which is wonderful. So now I know, right? These are huge achievements that I know people would sell their house for, you know, sell your houses. If you've got one, sell it, you know. Oh my God. Some houses.
So your next, I get so excited by my own. I'm excited by this. What is your next, like, where are you going? Are you going to start making more videos? Are you coaching in Chiang Mai? Where are you going?
Yeah, so I don't actually, so are you living in Chiang Mai at the moment?
Yeah, I moved here in September. So I actually work full-time at an international school, and then I coach on the side.
I'm booking a session with one of my old coaches from back in the day. I'm spending like hundreds of pounds on a coaching session, but it's with a man who's coached like hundreds of thousands of people internationally. And so I'm going to get him to work on, I've got a parts integration. One part of me wants to be a successful speaker, trainer. The other part of me doesn't feel worthy. So I'm going to work with him. So after I've done work with him, I'm rereading all my NLP, and I'm trying to formulate. One thing I don't think is, these are my assumptions, and they're big assumptions, and I might be wrong. But I think my approach might be too hard for the Chiang Mai community. I think I would feel more comfortable doing my stuff in the UK. I'm not sure. I think that I'm not quite sure. But that's part of what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to work out, what can I do? I would like to teach NLP, but because I've been hanging out with the nuns, and there's a massive relationship between Buddhism and NLP and the quantum world. So I'm really interested in seeing if there's some way of bringing those two together and doing some workshops and some trainings and videos, very similar to the model you're taking at the moment, but finding my strong space.
Awesome. And will you be doing this online, in person, or both online, in person, or to be determined?
Personally, I always prefer people contact. I just think there's something special about being in a group of, even if you did a Zoom for 100 people, you're not really connecting in that kind of way. And also touch is from an NLP perspective, touch is a really important modality to work with physiology and physical connection. Appropriate, but physical connection. Of course,
appropriate touch.
So really, the future is to step up. The future is to step up and show my face a bit more, have a better sense of what I'm being really clear. It's taken me a long time to go, no, these are the things I love. And if people think they're weird or whatever, Sodom, I'm just going to get on. I saw Brené Brown the other day. I'm a personal development person. I've never watched her video. In 2 minutes, I'm bawling my eyes out. Literally within 2 minutes of a speech. That's me.
Is this one of her talks on vulnerability by any chance?
Yes.
Was it? Okay, because someone sent me a video clip. Yeah, she's got some great content. I'm a fan. All right, since we are chatty people, any final thoughts, anything you feel like you need to share or say before we wrap this up?
You're a brave girl. So give me on it.
Well, thank you for,
Don't encourage me. I'm actually I'm actually thinking, so like people have tag names.
Yeah.
I can't say it very easily, but I'm thinking about calling myself the Encourage Mentor.
Ooh, I like it. It's like a play on words.
Because I think that's, and I also think that's moving forward. I think, if you've got no, I haven't got anything more to say. I've said enough. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that you're putting all these things out to the world. We know your name change. We know your future goals. You've had some breakthroughs. I love it.
So right on this video, which is one of the reasons I don't like doing videos. Nearly every time I cry.
Hey, I've been on the other end. Sometimes it takes saying it to another person or saying it publicly for it to actually hit you, because you already know what you're thinking in your head, but saying it has a whole nother power.
Well, I'm fine now. It's like, this is what I say to people. I used to say this to my clients. I say this to all my clients. Holding on to emotions is like a fart. And this will be my final words to you.
Oh, this is great. I really like where this is going.
Holding on to your emotions. I said this to the nuns. Oh my God, I told the nuns this in a van. There were 7 of us. They cracked up. They understood it with a tiny bit of translation. So
funny. Holding
on to emotions is like a fart. The more you hold on to it, the more it hurts. And then when you let it go, there's a nasty smell, and then it's gone.
I think that's going to be like the tagline for the video. we need a clickable title. I knew in the interview a title would come up. The fart is the title.
You're welcome. Seriously, and that's life. Let it go.
Let it out like a fart.